love like the culture of basketball. I don't really care about stats. Of course, it's cool. You win, you drop a triple double. I don't really care that much. I care about like why you love the game. I care about the music, the fashion, basketball as a whole, more or less like the numbers. Like I think the players are more than just basketball players, and that's what I like to tap into is like the humanity of the sport.
Welcome back to another episode of the Connecting Creators podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Chrysoula. And yeah, I'll let you introduce a little bit about what you do and about your story so far in basketball and media.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Chrysoula, and I do at this point now, I do like social media content. Exact is my that's like my niche right now is creating content specifically for social media. So I don't have a big camera. I do everything off my phone, which I like because like there's a lot of my friends go crazy. They're killers. They're really good with their cameras, but mine just like a little different. I haven't tapped into that field yet. And I've also like done like some interviews. I like asking questions. I just love basketball, and I love like the culture of basketball. And I'm more focused on like I don't really care about stats. Like numbers, of course, it's cool. You win, you drop a triple double. Cool. I don't really care that much. I care about like why you love the game. I care about the music, the fashion, like just like basketball as a whole, more or less like the numbers. Like I think the players are more than just basketball players, and that's what I like to tap into is like the humane part of it, like the humanity of the sport is like what I like to capture when I'm there. So I won't just capture plays. I also like if like at the 905, Gabe Brown would always dance I Wanna Rock. I was always there doing with him, like dancing with like capturing it and dancing with him because it just like became like a thing, and you can like build relationships like that. So yeah.
Right. No, that's awesome. So you correct me if I'm wrong, because like I found this on TikTok. So the first game you saw was in 2019
Well,
for
my
an NBA
first
game?
so I've been to Raptors games like with my best friend when I was younger.
Right.
But like I grew up playing soccer. Like of course I always watched basketball with my dad, but we just like watched like occasionally like Raptors games. And then I went to game 5 versus Orlando
Right.
during I think the first round.
Yeah.
And after that moment, like it wasn't even just like the game, it was like the experience of the game. It kind of changed my life. I'm not gonna lie. Like I went, I was like, oh my God, like I want to be involved in this. Like I love this. And it kind of like the of course like kind of cliche, but like the championship like kind of like sent me over that. I just like damn, like because that created the culture of basketball in Toronto. Of course, like Vince Carter, DeMar DeRozan, like they were they were big parts in it, but like championship like changed Toronto.
Yeah, no, dude.
So, and then during COVID, I ended up getting League Pass because I had nothing to do. And I was up, I think everyone was up late. I was like graduating high school, and like, life was kind of sucked being home. Like, I don't really like being home like that all the time. Like, I like to being out with people. So then when that happened, I got League Pass, and I would stay up all night watching. Like, I'd watch the East. As soon as 10 p.m. hit, I was watching the West Coast games. So I didn't just get into like the Raptors. I got into like just the NBA.
Right.
Yeah. So
and your favorite team, Sacramento?
The Raptors and the Kings. I can't both. I love Sacramento because that was like the team that I like fell into during during COVID. Like I've always loved the Raptors. Like have my flag. I love the Raptors, but I kind of fell into Sacramento and like I love De'Aaron Fox. So I fell into like that whole, and I'd watch them every night. Every time they'd play, I'd be watching the games. So then I kind of just like, and they're just like they're just there, they're low key, like just like doing their thing, they're playing, and now they're like slowly like getting up there, and they did so well. I can't lie, I kind of cried when they lost game 7. I was so invested, but you know what? Like that's like a step in the right direction.
Right.
I like both. I love the Raptors because I love Toronto. And like the Kings are like it's like my East and West. I got both. So
no, I respect that. So since you like maybe became like a super fan since 2019, did you go back and look at like the history of basketball at all, or did you just like kind of watch it from there?
I mean, I've always like been intrigued about the sport. So like, of course, I've watched The Last Dance like a bit, I don't know how many times. My mom bought me a book for my for Christmas. It's for Christmas. 100 things Raptors fans should know and do before they die.
Okay, I've seen that around, yeah.
And she got it for me, and it talks a lot about the history of the Raptors in Toronto and like basketball in the city.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've like tapped into a lot of it. Like it's not just recent. Like I have like I understand like the history. Like I'm into it. I might not be like the most like knowledgeable person on it. Like right now, of course, I know like the NBA now,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I still like love like you still gotta know everything, right? Like all the OGs, like the greats, like it's yeah.
Right. See, I'm the complete opposite. Like I used to like study the history of the game
Mhm.
when I was playing, and then if you ask me like half the roster now, I can't name them. It's like it's
Yeah,
pretty
come on.
bad.
It like goes in waves, right? But now that I've been like so tapped in at the 905 and like
Yeah.
by work, haven't watched as much.
Oh, okay.
It's like you're like I'm so like involved in it now that I'm like I have games every night. When am I gonna like I have no time to watch basketball anymore? Like of course I'm still paying attention, but
Right.
like now I like fell in love with like the G League and like
Right.
that. And then now the CBL. It just
Mhm.
like I like doesn't matter. It's not what it is, just like sport.
Right. So do you like it more as a like being a fan of the game, or do you like it more as like actually working on it?
I think working on it, but
Okay.
I do also like when it comes to being a fan, now that I'm in the world, I like my cousin was here from Montreal last week and I brought her to a Shooting Stars game and I wanted her like to see my world. I just
Right.
got to meet all my friends and we sat courtside and it was just like the experience for her was like incredible. And like the whole time she's like talking to everyone. I'm like, yeah, because like this is my space. Like I feel so comfortable in this space. Like it's like a space I thrive in when I'm in that environment. I just talk to everyone and like you're just like talking about each other's work, just create friendships.
Right.
So like I think now because now that I've been in it, like when I go to Raptors games, like no, I should be on the court, like I should be filming. Like you want to be in it now. Like of course I love being a fan. I went to the
Yeah.
playing game as a fan. I went to the Kings game in Toronto as a fan, and I'll go again next year as a fan. Unless I wait, hopefully I'm working. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be there so I can like actually go get my Fox jersey signed and I can actually get a picture with him. But
Right.
like now that I've experienced what it's like to be on the court, I
Mm.
don't want. I can. I'm like so like no, I want to be there. Like I should be there. You know.
Yeah.
That's kind of like
Nah,
my
nah, I
thing with
respect
it.
that. I respect that. I personally used to make basketball mixtapes for people.
Yeah.
Um, so I get what you mean. Like once you get on the court and like you start filming for people and you're like immersed in it, and then you go back to the stands, it's like, oh, it's not the same.
No, not at all.
It's not even close. And like even now when I watch Steph play, I'm like
Mm-hmm.
emotionally invested when I'm watching it.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to watch like the Raptors play and I know they're not gonna make the playoffs or something, I'm like, it's fun, but it's not the same, you know? Like,
Once you've experienced the other side, you're
mhm,
like, okay,
right.
like, like I need to be there.
Back to that Orlando game, you said like a year later, uh, you were like, are you working with the teams and stuff? So like, how did you go about networking your way into like Scarborough Shooting Stars? Um, Obviously a little bit with the 905. Who else? On point basketball
On
and stuff.
point, Leia. Yeah.
Right.
So I my like journey to this was not stagnant. It wasn't straight. I
Okay.
actually did 2 years of educational studies at York. So I was
Okay.
studying to be a teacher. So I'm technically going into second year of sports media, but I'm
Mhm.
21. So I'm
Okay.
like 8 years, like I'm like age-wise behind, I
Right.
guess. So like I did 2 years of teaching because like coming out of COVID, like that's what my parents wanted me to do. And oh, I've been a camp counselor, like I've always been around kids. You should be a teacher, you should be a teacher. And like when you're coming out of COVID, like that kind of messed with your like mental a lot. So I was like, okay, I'll just go into teachers college. I'll just go into like the teaching, like do what everyone wants. And then
Mhm.
I kind of like wait, like, no, like I'm gonna apply to sports media. So I did. I got waitlisted the first year because coming out of college, the program is so small. Coming out of college, they like rarely accept transfers.
Okay.
So like I was on the phone with the dean of the program, emailing him. Like I was like, accept me. Like this is like all I need is the opportunity. Like that's one thing I always say. Is
Yeah.
like I just need the opportunity. And like once I'm in, like I can do it on my own. Like I'm good. I reapplied. I remember the day I got in, I was at York. It was like near exam season. And I got the email and I lost my mind.
Okay.
Because I was like, okay, I did it. Like I got accepted.
Hmm.
And it was like the most incredible thing ever. And I was so excited. And then from there, one of my friends who's working with Tier Zero now, Jojo, he was like, Chris, just DM people, like just message people around. So I messaged this media company, the one I used to work for, and he just I'm so grateful. He just gave me the opportunity. He was like,
Hmm.
you know what? We had a Zoom call. It's like, okay, cool. The next 2 days later, or like 3 days later, I got my media pass to my first 905 game, but it was at Scotiabank Arena.
Okay.
So, and I was like, no, like there's no way. There's
Yeah.
no way I'm going to school. So next thing I know, I'm like low-key scared. I'm walking to that space all alone. I met one person and like this really great shooter from Toronto. And then the game was incredible. Of course, I wasn't as like, like confident outgoing, but I did my
Yeah, of
thing.
course. Yeah,
I
yeah.
like was walking through I was walking in the tunnel, like actually fangirling, like losing my mind. Of course, I didn't take up as like it's important to take up space, like when you're
Yeah,
in these environments. But I was just like there,
right.
I was like, this is my first time, and it was at Scotiabank. So we got pictures after the game, made my video. It was great, and then
Right.
I just at the 905 season, I just became friends with everybody, coaches, the players, assistant coaches, people play by play. Like I just became friends with everyone in that environment, and even like the execs
Right.
to a point where I just felt so comfortable being there. Like I just looked forward to going all the time. Like I just loved it so much. And then like the players start to when they know you, they start to repost your stuff.
Right.
Like, it just like took off very, very fast. Like once I started media in December,
Okay.
which is kind of crazy. And now I'm like, I kind of like am everywhere in the Toronto basketball community, like office
Yeah.
hours. I work with Layup, which is a great organization. I create content for them. Office hours, I also do Nick's social media stuff, like his Instagram stories.
Right.
You just kind of like went for it. And then since like the 905, it just kind of like exploded.
No,
And
that's
I'm
awesome.
really happy.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, you mentioned all those brands that you work with. So
Mhm,
obviously layup basketball is more for the youth, and then
mhm,
All Point covers they cover everything, but mainly high school, from what I remember.
mhm,
Um, and then you got the college level of TMU, and then you got the pro level of like CBL, and then
mhm.
905 and Raptors. So out of all the levels of basketball, which one is your favorite to work with?
Ooh, okay. I think I've taken a lot from each of them, and I
Mhm.
really do like enjoy like the Ryerson. I mean TMU. I just started with,
Right.
so I'm gonna keep saying that. Whatever, it's fine.
It's okay.
I just like started this summer, and I'm actually just doing it like upcoming is my first season, but I'm really excited because I get to like travel with the team. I get to be like really like engulfed in it.
Hmm.
I think like I love layup and I love what they do, and I've met so many incredible people, and that's been a really great experience with me. Like is doing CrossFit with them, but I think like I like love professional basketball. Like I
Right.
love it, and I
Right.
think that like of course like for me like I want to work in the NBA. So I
Mhm.
think like the 905 and like the CBL, the professional level, is like my it's the most challenging for me too because I used to get super nervous in those environments, but now I
Yeah.
just tell myself they're just tall humans. It's not that serious. I'm a pretty
Yeah.
short person. Like
Okay.
they're just like you can get a little intimidated when you're in like that like
Yeah.
you walk in there you're like, oh, these are professionals, and you're like, wait, I don't know if I'm like, you guys are all like, I'm 21, you're all like 24,
Yeah.
like you're basically, and like we're all like, I get like you're just extremely good at this sport, and like you're getting paid a lot, like well deserved, you work hard, like on a human level we're all the same.
Yeah.
Like you're just a tall person, that's all it is. You're a tall
Right.
person. So like I think my favorite is like I do really enjoy the professional level. I
Okay.
think it's like where I'm most tapped in, but I'm really grateful that I've continued that I can create content at all these other ones because like I also love how like personal the Toronto ball scene is. It's a little more professional when you're professional.
Mhm.
It's a little more professional when you're at that level, but the
Right.
Toronto ball scene is really fun. Like I was at office hours yesterday.
Right.
So much fun. Like the people, like they're just like cool, like people from the city. Like and you get to meet a lot of different people from different areas and like different backgrounds, like which is really cool. And like these people I would never have met unless I was in the industry. Like once you're like
Right.
in it, you're like in it. Like and you realize
Yeah.
how small this circle is, right? The basketball scene for us really small. Now that I'm in it, like I also love that. But that's more of like my like for fun. Like I just enjoy it.
Right.
Like working probably it's definitely the pros, of course. Like I'm an NBA geek.
Well, you mentioned before that you interview um some of the players who are Scarborough shooting stars and stuff.
The mental health aspect, there's only no focus on it in the world of basketball and sports, but it seems something that's very important to you is mental wellness. And with your work with Limitless Performance, can you let me know about your role with them and how that's going to impact your game with the Shooting Stars?
Yeah, so my role with them is I'm the mental skills assistant. They're two sports psychologists.
You kind of briefly mentioned that it was on the spot, but do you still have like now going forward like a research process that you'll go through?
I do. So when it comes to interviews, like a lot of people focus on like, especially being in the 905 media room, a lot of people focus on the stats and the numbers. It's not my thing.
Right.
And I can't truly talk about it like it's my thing. Cool. Drop 30. The team lost, he dropped 30. I could not care. Good for you, but like, the team like is it, like whatever. But so like I think that like I just look into like their personal lives and like what they really like. When I interviewed Daniel Mullings, I looked at his Instagram. Everything's
Right.
online now. So I went on his Instagram and I found that he does a lot of wellness stuff.
Right.
So I dove into that. Cat Barber is a musician. So like I tend to like look for like little niches that aren't basketball. So when I'm looking, I tend to use like Instagram for players, or I'll go on like I'll look online sometimes. Like when it comes to research, I really do focus on like finding little niches that aren't basketball related, because basketball related everyone, someone else can ask. Someone will ask. That's the thing. And they've been asked that. I haven't even seen these guys play yet. Like, of course, like I've seen Cat, the G League. I've seen him in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like I've seen them play, but not like,
Up
focused.
close. Yeah.
What am I gonna ask them? Basketball related
Right.
about their game when I don't even know their game.
Right.
So I decided to like, deep dive into something a little more personal, or if they have like an account, like Daniel had an account tagged with his like kind of like his wellness page. So I dove into that and I looked for his motto, his this, his that. And then when you ask people questions like that, they're very surprised. And they're like, oh,
Yeah.
and they're like they'll be like, that was a really good question. And like it's like they're more interested to like talk to you about it, because they're always talking about basketball. Their lives are basketball. We have like such a incredible fan base. They want to know these things. Like I want to know these things.
Right.
When I learn it, I'm like, and it humanizes them. Like you're just like an athlete. You're just like a 6'7", whatever. You're not just like a 7 foot. It's like you're a person. Like do you like country music? Do you like this? Do you like something surprising about them? So, and then when I start talking about that, like I can talk. I know I can. Like I can.
Yeah.
Right. But then the questions like just flow.
Right. I definitely agree. Like, even when I ask people questions and stuff, like obviously the first thing I write out is all the main things that I want to talk about, like relating to their work. But then I'll go in and like look at what they're interested in as a person. Like for you, like I see music and fashion. I have a fashion question for you coming up. And so it's just like see, and like that just sparked an interest in you. So now you're gonna like open up about it, or like, whatever the case is, right? That interview that you mentioned with what was his name? Mullings?
Daniel Mullings, yeah.
Yeah. Like you could tell like he appreciated that question by the way he answered it. All right, so fashion is obviously another passion of yours. And you have like a series on TikTok where you do like the get ready with me before the games, or like you show off your outfits. Like I mentioned before, I used to make ball mixtapes, and I know trying to get the right shots, comfort is everything. So what are some do's and don'ts on what to wear and what not to wear, like courtside filming?
Okay, filming. I wore jeans to the first 3 Stars game because I did like a reminiscent outfit, like I wore that outfit at my first game as a fan.
Right.
I was bent up, like, of course. I was like, it was like I'll do it again, but it wasn't the most comfortable. But for me, like I think like you wear what you like look good in.
Okay.
Like wear what you feel good, not look good, you feel good in.
Okay.
But then also be like, gotta keep it professional.
Mm-hmm.
Or a girl, and like you're working in this industry, like you can't be dressed like in certain ways. That you gotta put off like of course, like what you wear shouldn't dictate anything, but of course, like be mindful.
It's going to, yeah.
You have to be very mindful working in an industry like this. Dudes definitely like show off like your personality, your style, and wear something that you feel confident in is really important. You want to stand out.
Yeah, no tracksuits.
Oh no, not like but like what I love too is like when you go to like office hours runs, I always get Sarah, I take a tunnel picture. I'm not playing, but I go in a fit because like you just like it's part of the culture.
Right.
Like when you go to these things, like I'm going to Scarborough, everyone's fitted up. Fashion is like as much more basketball as the game as music is now, especially now, like league fits.
Yeah. I think it's always been like, even when you look at Jordan and Allen Iverson, it's like
Iverson changed the game.
Exactly.
Dennis Rodman and the way they dress. So like that's why it's like you can stick out.
I seen like on your TikToks that you say like you know more about ball than a lot of guys. I know it's like in a bit of a joking way, but like you probably still do. So I just want to know, like, when you're capturing shots of players, or you're asking, or you're thinking about certain questions to ask them, how much does your IQ and your understanding of their play style come into that when you're doing things like that?
Definitely. Like if I know you have bounce,
Hmm.
like like of course I'm capturing like the big moments too. Like everyone wants their Showtime moment, right? Like I know
Right.
you can jump. I'm looking for that. Like pre-game, you're bouncing, right? You're dunking, you're doing your shit, right? But if I know you're a shooter, I'll go like behind you, I'll get you taking your 3-point shots, I'll get
Mhm.
like or like some players, if they don't get a lot of coverage doing one skill, I'll
Right.
like focus on that.
Okay.
So if I know like in my Coloco video, got a lot
Right.
of jump shots in there.
Okay.
People don't really see him as like a shooter like that sometimes, like he's a big man, right? So
Mhm.
like I'll focus on like skills, maybe like or something like a lot of people don't cover sometimes.
Right.
Like if you're like a big man and you're making a three, of course you want to see. Of course you want that video. I know you want that.
Yeah.
I know you
Yeah.
like that video, right? Like so I kind of tend to focus also on like stuff like that. But then if I know like you like to dance, like you like fun pre-game, like I'll be watching you. Some of them are serious pre-game, and some of them are like dancing around, they're jamming out, they're rapping, like, and I'm like, hey, let me get like I like that. Let me get the personality right. Right. It's
Right.
like when I shoot, it just comes like actually like the more I watch a player, I can learn about their game. And like maybe Jeff Dowtin Jr. every day pregame, after Okada, he'd walk to the line, he would jump
Mhm.
over it and come back.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I would record that because I was like something personal for him.
Right.
No one else would do it, but Jeff,
Right.
he'd run there, he'd run to it, he'd jump over it, and he'd come back.
Yeah.
Players have pregame routines, and people want to see it.
I feel like that's an underrated part of like the media side that people don't realize because like obviously a lot of people love basketball, but they don't know it that well.
Mm-hmm.
Or they think they know it better than they actually do. And
Mm-hmm.
so like when they get certain pictures and shots, it's like it doesn't quite come out as clean as like it would
Mm-hmm.
as like what you're saying. Like you're in the right angle, like they like the
Yeah.
left corner. Okay, I'm going to the left corner, or I'm going under the basket when I know he's in the left corner because I know he's gonna shoot it.
Yeah, you want to like kind of like position yourself. Like when GB did his windmill dunk, no, it was like through the legs. It was crazy. I don't know what he did. It was like the
Yeah,
whole world exploded. I got the side of it. So I
right,
wanted to see the process. Like you see from right in front of the basket, you don't get that.
right,
But I got the side because I thought you can see like him going under and like you see
mhm,
everything, right? So
right,
if you think about like what they're doing, you kind of
right.
get like a different like, damn, like different look at it, right?
Yeah, yeah. Even like if they're right or left-handed, you can aim it so that way their body's open or
Exactly.
closed. Yeah. No,
And
I
then
know.
also comes with the response, like when
Mhm.
they're like when they go like and they kind of like give you
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
like you're like if you're facing that if they're facing you like you go oh that's tough like you don't want their back you want like their face you want the
Yeah,
emotions like yeah that's tough right so
yeah. You
just
want
like
the
that
money
like
shot.
and then sometimes like that's such bad luck like I'll miss like I'll the minute I move something like dope will happen I'm like of course
Right,
of course
right.
happens to me all the time the minute I move like the sickest shit happens but it's okay because like there's always something else happen.
No,
So
definitely. I seen that you ran into the super fan a few times.
yeah.
What was it like meeting him? And like obviously he's such a core part of the city of Toronto. So in the future, would you like is that like a goal of yours to maybe like make some sort of piece about him?
Oh, for sure. Like I met Nav for the first time. I was just me and my friend were like going to the home. I always go to the home opener, always
Okay.
as a fan. I've done it like
Right.
for a few years now, and it's like a tradition that we have. So we were walking, and I don't know how we ended up. My seats are like in 300s. I got the money to be buying these great easy seats, especially like maybe for Sacramento. Maybe I'll buy expensive seats when Sacramento comes. But normally, I just go to 300s. I'm just there for the vibes. I'm enjoying it. I love the atmosphere. I can see the game. So I don't know how we ended up we ended up walking up the stairs of like the platinum thing.
Mm,
I was
okay.
like, we're not supposed to be here. Then I see Nav. I'm like, wait, I need a photo. And I was like so excited. This is like one of my first interactions with someone in the industry like that. I was like, this is so cool. I was like freaking out. I posted it, blah blah.
Mm,
And then I actually ran into a few shooting stars. I mean, a few 905 games, and like spoke to him, and like he knows my name. We had a conversation, and like gives me a hug now. And it was just like, damn, like he's such a core part of the team. Like him, like kind of like seeing me and like knowing me was like really cool for me, and it like felt really like damn, like okay, like you can build these relationships. Like I've taken a lot of really cool photos of him and like videos of him, and I've incorporated him in my video, and you kind of got to see like his relationship. Like he's like a father figure to these kid players.
right.
Like to Coloco, these guys, like, he takes them and he talks to them. Like he's just like, hey, what's up? He speaks to them. That's why so many players have such a high admiration for him. So he
Mhm.
speaks to them. So I definitely like would love to like the more I like, now the 9 to 5 season's over, so I probably randomly see him. But
Right.
the more I like see him, I definitely want to like, because he's done so much for the city, like the culture. So like, just loves like he posts for everybody. No matter who wins.
Right.
Jamal Murray, like something like, and Steph has like a big achievement when someone has like when someone makes something, like he'll post about it, like because it's like the love for the game, not just like the love for the Raptors. Of course, the Raptors is like that's the team, but it's the love for the game more or less the love for just one team, right? So I
Right.
would love to like create something with him or for him sometime in the future.
Yeah.
That'd be a goal. Cause like he's a really cool person. He's really kind.
Right.
And I think that you can meet, like, it's really nice to meet people like that in that environment.
Right. Well, I'm hoping like we manifest that for you here.
I hope so.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be really cool. Give it like 2 years, maybe.
Nav, if you're watching this, which you probably aren't,
If you do, hit me up.
yeah, definitely. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on to the show. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your journey and your story with us. And I hope in the future, when you make that video with Nav, you'll come back on.
100%. I'll be here. Oh my God. Anytime you want to talk, just tell me.
Okay, sounds good. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. So if you want to drop your Instagram for people to follow you real quick.
Sure. My Instagram is Chrys, so CHRYSS, 3 underscores.
Perfect. All right, guys, go check out our content and we'll see you guys in the next one.